G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute. Today I'm joined again by Lemming and Billionaire Ninja, and we're going to be doing a buyer's guide on the Intrepid. How are you two boys doing today?
Oh, I'm amazing. Beautiful day.
It's a great day. It's getting cool here.
All right. I'll get away with the pleasantries then. So don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you for everyone that won the extra mail on Patreon at the end of the video. All right. Now that's out of the way. Let's get over to the browser and get into the Intrepid. Alrighty. Let's start with the positives. Yeah. Positives. Anyone got any positives?
I like the side
Crusader.
Look, I'm going to be honest. I actually think down the line, like say 12 months from now, when they bring in some variants, I think that's where this ship will probably start to shine. But it's in its current state, other than looking nice, as we get into compare it to other ships, it just does not stand up at its price point. As time went by, like I was originally saying $75 to $80 because I thought that this was going to be a bit different to what it was. But now things have come through, and where it's landed today, I think they killed it. I think it needs to be $5 to even $10 cheaper than it is. And that's mainly because you look at the other ships that are around it, it just does not stand up. Yeah. Billy?
I can actually say something nice about it.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's the only starter ship with VTOLs.
True. That is technically true. I guess that is not technically true because the cutter has VTOLs.
It does?
Yeah. Because they can
those
rotate.
Little baby ones, right?
No, the main engines rotate. Yeah. They're not just little ones, they're big ones. Yeah. So yeah.
Okay. Well, my one positive thing.
I think if it also carried a vehicle, I don't think we'd be complaining like we are, right? But when you look at the other ships that we're going to compare it against, they are all the same price or cheaper, and they do more. And that's the kind of problem. So that's why I keep coming back to the variants. It has to be the variants where this thing shines. And even then, it now implies that those variants are now more expensive than this, right? By at least $5. So let's say there's two variants, I'd be expecting something like $70 and then a 75, right? And this now sits non-war bond at $65, right? So you can get it cheaper today. You can also buy it standalone without a game package, blah blah blah, la da da. Billing, your thoughts? Is there anything kind of redeemable about this one? This could be the shortest buyer's guide we've ever done.
I do think it's more of a look-based ship. I think when I'm buying a starter, I guess I'm not looking for as much utility. I want utility. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying it's a starter ship. I'm most likely going to get rid of it at some point. So like, it could be. These are the decisions where it could be. You could lean towards a ship based on looks. You could lean because it has a little bit of everything. You got the nice gun and you got the 8 SCU cargo, and maybe you're just a fan of Crusader. So I do think at the lower price points you can start to get away with. I like it because of the looks and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that's the only thing I would say.
Yeah,
positive.
So its positive things are probably that it's faster than a lot of the other ships. It's probably got more fuel efficiency than other ships. But when you're looking at other starters, the gap is just not big enough, right? And then you got other things like where you can't carry a vehicle that drag it too far back because that's just like a complete null and void thing, right? But again, like everything Billing just said, you're not really going to stay with your starter ship, right? So if this thing just happens to speak to you, you like the look of it, yeah, go get one. If it's your first ship, go get one. Is it just an LTI token? For some people, it will be. But again, not every ship is for everyone. This is clearly not made for us veterans. It is designed for new people. You got to keep that in mind. That said, though, there's some big memes here that I'd love to do. So this one here says haul big. I just want to put one of the comparisons we could make is this versus the 32 SCU cargo container. The 32 SCU cargo container wins. Things like that. So yeah. All right, Lemming, let's get in the comparison.
So I've noticed one thing.
Yep.
So I've noticed one thing is that it seems like a lot of the Crusader fans, the people that like Crusader, don't like this ship. And it seems like a lot of the people that don't like Crusader really like this ship. Which is an interesting data point, and I'd be curious to hear in the comments what people think about that. Are you a Crusader fan and like this? Are you not a Crusader fan and like this?
See,
Yeah.
I'm just across the board. You know me. I'm a bit of a generalist, so I'm always just comparing them to other ships. I think look-wise, I don't really have a super big problem, but I know a lot of people do have a big problem with this ship. Because it's not symmetrical, like where the cockpit is in the middle. It's because the cockpit's off to the side, and none of the other Crusader ships do that. They've all been symmetrical up until this point. But that makes me hopeful for the future that they may do a bigger one where the cockpit is completely off to one side. You know, like the Millennium Falcon. That would be awesome. You know, where the cockpit is way off to the left or something. But yeah. All right. Let's start comparing it then. So I think the first cab off the rank is probably going to be the Cutter. So the Cutter is cheaper, but affectionately does more. I don't know. What's your guys' thoughts on that? Billy, I'll start with you, mate. The Intrepid versus the Cutter.
Yeah, when it comes to the Cutter, I think it's really about price. That's what really gets me,
Yep.
price and being able to take a small vehicle.
Yep.
If I'm really just like I'm just gonna spend the minimum amount just to get the most out of my dollar, I think I'm going with the Cutter because I can take that vehicle and because I don't plan on doing a whole lot of crazy stuff with it before I'm already upgrading, and being able to take a vehicle at this early stage of the game, I just think
when you're already kind of
hard to get rid of.
low down, you're going to be doing a lot of vehicle stuff. And what I mean by low down is you low down the food chain. So the obvious negative here is it doesn't have the same CCU, the SCU capacity. It's half the SCU capacity of the Intrepid. Right. But also in a weird way, you can kind of pack it a bit better because it's in one space, not two. So you can still get the same size cargo containers in this as you can in the Intrepid, for example. Like, for example, I can't take a single 8 SCU cargo container in the Intrepid. I can only take 2 twos because you can't even take a 4 because a 4's a square. So you know, actually you probably can take a 4 in the Cutter because you could turn it. Oh, maybe you could turn it. I don't know if you can turn them sideways. I haven't tested that.
No,
I don't know.
it's
you
not.
You can't. They're all flat.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Good to know. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But no, just be cool if you could rotate it sideways and put them in. But I've never tested it. I never thought to test it. But they obviously they haven't made it a thing. All right. Well, good. Glad we cleared that up. Right. The next one would be the Titan, and I think this is really where the Intrepid starts to fall apart. It's also an advanced starter. It's the oldest, in fact, advanced starter in the game. It also carries 8 SCU. It kind of outguns it in a way because it's got 3 guns, so it's got redundancy, and you're also firing 3 of them at once as opposed to 1. So you're not there's not those gaps in recharge. You could essentially, you know, pick and choose how you fire them. It also can carry a vehicle. It doesn't have the engineering console. I guess that's a negative against it. What else, boys? Does this give me the negatives of this against the Intrepid? Where does the Intrepid have over this? It's not much, is it?
Go ahead.
VTOL.
VTOL. Okay.
I got a lot more.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
This thing blows the Intrepid out of the water.
Yeah.
It has a size 4 gun, and in addition to that, it has 2 size 3 guns.
Oh, it is size 4,
So
not size 3.
That's already.
Yeah, you're right.
As far as guns, it's destroying it. Then missile racks, it has size 2. It has 2 size 2s, or it has 4 size 2s, where the Intrepid only has 2 size 1s. With shields, it has dual shields. With coolers, it has dual coolers. Like it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's not even close. This thing just blows the Intrepid
I
out of the water.
was remembering the old gun. See, Agrid's the stat guy. I rely on him for all the stats because I just look at the gameplay and stuff. So yeah, different stats.
That's all right. I've watched your channel.
Yeah, you can be the Agrid today. That's good. That's good. Yeah. So it's not. I'm just going to remember the stats when they all get to the final stage because I always knew they're going to be changing the way along. Yeah. So that's one, and I think this one even undoes it more, considering they said it's cargo and light combat, right? So we just had the combat covered in the Avenger, absolutely wiped the floor with it, but it still carries the same amount of cargo. Now you go look at 315p, we go up to 12 SCU, and we gain a tractor beam. I just, and it's apparently from the most luxurious manufacturer in the game. You know what I mean? And you've still got the bed, you've got all that type of stuff. It's probably going to be just, I don't know, I'd have to go check the speeds on this. You guys might be able to speak to this more than me, but I assume the components are higher quality on an Origin over another ship. So I just can't recommend the Intrepid when you've got two ships at exactly the same price point and they just floor it. I think it's overpriced by as I said, $5 to $10.
So the only thing that really the Intrepid has over both the Titan and the 315 is VTOL and the engineering console.
Yep.
We don't know if either or both of those will get an engineering console because they haven't had passes.
True.
But right now, that's the only thing that it has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because the 315P story is similar to the Titan. It just it has two size 3s and it has the tractor beam.
Yeah.
Then it has dual shields and coolers and better missiles.
Yeah, he is actually right when he says about the engineering console. But if that is an exclusive feature of the Intrepid, which I don't, or I kind of hope it won't be, but that essentially allows you to repair a little bit inside without having to go outside. But also, its components are all internal. That is another thing. A lot of the other ships, the components are not all on the inside. There are some on the outside as well. So that is a positive in the Intrepid's favor. Let's be honest. But then again, they're all placed at the arse end of the ship, so they're easily shot. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it giveth and taketh. So yeah.
So I don't think the 315 has any physicalized components right now, or it doesn't
it
the
doesn't.
last time that I've looked.
Yeah.
No, I don't think it does.
Yeah.
But one thing I'll say though is I would agree with the being able to repair it inside, but the HP for it, I mean, I know that's a temporary thing,
Yeah.
HP, but the cutter, if I'm not mistaken, has more HP. So the cutter's tougher than it.
Yep.
So and the cutter has that walkable interior.
Yep.
And for $45, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if it has the engineering thing.
Yeah.
So that might be the difference.
And again, when you come back to these older ships like the 315P and the Avenger, and then you add passes on top of that, like you can see where I'm going with this. It's not looking good for the Intrepid, and I keep coming back to variants. It has to be the Intrepid variants that bring this thing home, because I just don't understand why it exists otherwise. And I know it sounds like I'm throwing a lot of hate, but if you like the Intrepid, you go buy the Intrepid. We're just giving you the value proposition. I think that's the fair assessment of what we're doing here, guys, isn't it? We're not kind of hating on it. We're trying to be impartial and just go, look, it's black and white. Let's look at the numbers, But yeah. You go ahead.
So I was thinking about variants and how the Intrepid could gain a whole lot of ground in my book, and that's if one of the Intrepid variants is a competitor. Oh gosh, it just slipped my mind. The Data Runner by Drake.
Yeah, so you're talking like a data runner. Yeah, but we've talked about. I do kind of want to leave that. I want to leave that a little bit out of the video because we're going into speculation there. I want to kind of leave this a bit more factual.
Yeah,
but finish what you thought.
That's pretty much it.
Oh, okay.
And that's how this ship could slide into being highly useful.
Yeah, well, I've even said before, I said it to you guys before the show, this back thing in the center and those two weird things near the landing gear, it implies that there's some kind of weird thing there that we can't add up, but I could be completely off the mark. Again, 12 months from now when the variants come in next year, I think it might be, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, it's a very different story. They've obviously gone with the generalist cargo variant, and down the line we'll see a little bit more. Right, so let's get into some more positive things. It does have some cool skins though, right? And again, this might not be for everyone, but so these are the ones they brought out. So obviously the default one is basically where the red part's here, it is blue. So this is the more traditional older Crusader skin. Then we've got this kind of interesting metallic green one. I think that might be a bit popular with. It's very alien. What do you guys think about that one?
Yeah, I think it's unique in the where it has the green accents and everything. The base color is fairly plain, but I like like where they decided to put the accents.
A little bit different, that's for sure. All right, and then we've got, this is can't remember what this one's called, but yeah, it's kind of like a more grey white one. Reminds me a little bit of the E1. Do you think that's kind of where that one comes from, Lemming, or am I totally off base there? Because you're the E1 person out of the three of us.
Yeah, so this paint right here fixes one of my biggest problems with it. Is like the ship in game, at least,
Mm,
there's a whole lot of flat white surfaces.
true.
This at least adds some, I don't know,
Mm,
some accents to
yeah.
that draw your eye to certain parts of the ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite ones. I think this
I,
might be my favorite one.
I think this is the one where it's going to be at though, and this one is clearly
Oh yeah.
designed at the Mercury Star Runners Night Runner skin. That was that limited skin, and then they kind of made it for the Spirit as well as the Concierge skin, and now we've got a Concierge skin for this one. This is the one that I'd be picking up, and this is the one in the future that I think that will be the highly sought after one. Again, being Concierge. The other thing I want to address though, they did also when we were we were briefly watching the IE Day video where they talked about the Intrepid, and in the voiceover, the guy mentioned it had a size 4 gun. Now I want to know how quickly they redid that ad to make that even possible, because they only announced the gun being changed 3-4 days ago. So it's been a size 4 gun from the get-go and someone stuffed up and put a size 3 on it. And I think you even said, Lemming, it was upside down when it first went in the game. So I think it was meant to be size 4 the whole time. I just assumed it was size 4 too, because of like things you said, like with the Avenger and stuff like that. It just made sense for it to be a bigger gun. I don't know. I think they stuffed up there somewhere. Yeah.
So I think, and I'm getting out my tinfoil hat here,
Mm-hmm.
is that a variant was planned further down the road that changed the size 3 gun to a size 4.
That's what I think too.
So they already
Yep.
had kind of the balancing done on it
Yep.
to know that it could take it.
Yep.
Regarding the video,
Mhm.
I don't know if that was just
Mm.
I mean, it's just one little voice. It doesn't sound like it's
Mm.
and I don't want this to be as an
So
insult to the person that voiced it.
yeah.
But it didn't sound like a professional voice actor. It didn't sound like Anna.
No, it wasn't Anna. It was a man. It was a man.
Yeah,
So yeah. I don't know about you,
right.
Billing,
But
but
it didn't sound like that quality.
what I just heard, Billing, was Lemming said, "Look forward to a ship with a size 5 gun." That's what I just heard. Is that what you just heard, Billing?
So
If I'm not mistaken, you were saying that it was supposed to have a size 3, but there was another variant that had a size 4 already, so they knew they could put a size 4 on it. Not that they would have a size
Yeah.
5 later, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I'm just
but
putting words in
I
his mouth
do
because that's what I
think
do.
that the inside of this ship is what the Ares should have been.
Yeah.
The Ares without
Yes.
an engineering console
Yeah.
is such a problem.
And I do think a lot of people look at the ship and really compare it to the Spirit. But I think the true, like, if you look at the lines of it as well, and that, like, a lot of comparisons were done on lines to certain angles on the ship and stuff like that. If you actually look at the angles, it's the Ares. It is not all the other. It's like not the Spirit. It's not like it's got boxy nature of the Spirit, but the actual lines, like especially the diagonal one between the gun and the main body, that's taken straight off the Antares. So it is an Antares sibling, not a Spirit MSR sibling.
You mean the Ares, not the Antares, right?
Yeah, sorry, did I say Antares? My bad. I meant Ares. Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, I
yep.
thought that was obvious.
Mm.
I didn't start thinking otherwise or start even considering otherwise until I saw people talking on Reddit, but I
Yeah.
thought it was obvious that it was an
Mm.
Ares.
Yeah. I don't think the hate on this ship should be put on it because of the way it looks. I think that's a personal taste, and I think everyone's going to
Yeah.
validate it
Yeah.
independently. The disappointment for me is purely in the numbers, right? And that's my issue with this. I don't like. I can look at the skins and go, "That is a beautiful skin." I can look at the default skin and do the same thing. I don't actually really have a problem with the ship. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's unique. I think it breaks the mold. And what's to say down the line they don't make another Crusader ship that does break that? That's just what we had up to that point. But someone decided to break that mold, and again, the Antares is not down, is down the center line, but and you make it smaller and you have those 2 rooms, I just hope we see more of it, to be honest. I like the asymmetric stuff, and some people don't like that, and I think that's kind of the problem. Like, I like a lot of the Drake ships that do that as well. Like the Caterpillar is just on a different level to everything else in the game. Right at the back, completely off to one side. And as I said earlier, I can see a Crusader ship doing that Millennium Falcon thing eventually, and it would be great. I think it would be. It would. You might hate it, but I like the different things. And I know when I way back when Algrid was hating on the Caterpillar like something crazy, and I said go fly it, and it changed his entire perspective on the ship because it was just a different flight experience. And over the last couple of weeks, with the Eva Cardi build, I've been flying all these different ships backwards and forwards through the jump point, and any of those ships that have those different flight characteristics, it just highlights them even more and changes how you feel about them. And the Caterpillar, believe it or not, is one of my favorite ships to fly through that jump point, because it's just, you're like flying this giant stick trying to steer it through this pipe, and it's just different, you know, where everything else it kind of follows you like a train. You're at the back of the train trying to drive the train, and it changes the perspective quite a bit. So yeah. Right, I know I kind of went off a bit of a tangent then, but what I'm trying to say is look at the Intrepid and see if you like it. Don't judge everything we say. Don't judge everything everyone else says. If you like it, it's a starter ship. You kind of can't go wrong, because you're going to go in a different direction as soon as you leave it anyway. I think you guys would kind of agree with me on that one. If that is the positive takeaway, would you guys agree with that statement?
Yes. So this is a starter pack, and a LTI starter pack is not a common thing.
Yep.
So if you don't have an LTI starter pack, this isn't a bad one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great.
I think that's.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think that's what can justify, because I do think it's overpriced until you factor in the starter pack, and that's when I start to be like, okay, now I can see some value there. And that's that to me, that's the only version people should get. But yeah, unless you're just a Crusader fanatic, and you're working your way towards a Crusader everything, I think that's really the main takeaways. Get the starter pack.
Yep, I don't disagree with anything you said there. Is there anything you'd like to hear from people in the comments below? I know I've kind of hated on it and then told you to look at it the way you want it, but yeah, like I know there are going to be people that hate it, but can you separate yourself from it? That's what I hear in the comment. Can you separate yourself on it and see who it's for, and see that it's not for yourself if you hate it, right? If you do love it, then tell me why you love it, and I'd like to hear that too. Lemming, what would you like to hear from people in the comments below?
I would really like to hear people's like use cases for it. So like it's going to be rentable at the show.
Yep.
So go rent it and try to use it for stuff, and tell us what you used it for and if it was good at it.
Yep. Billing, do you think it? I'll just ask you this, and you can answer it if you want. Do you think that it will be the variances where it's at? And what would you like to hear from people in the comments below?
Yeah, I think what we're looking at is a base model for whatever the variants are going to be, and the variants are all going to be better than this.
Yep.
And in the comments, I think for me, if you bought one, why did you pick this over something like a Cutter Titan or 315P? And if you didn't buy it, what were your I don't know, 2 or 3 biggest reasons why you didn't buy it?
It's kind of weird the way we word that, because we kind of want to know why you were weird enough to buy the ship that no one else would buy. That's essentially what we're asking, isn't it? We want to know why you're so weird. Why did you do that? But I think I'll also ask about the variants. Do you think that, like, do you have the same thought process that we have? Like, is these variants going to totally change what we think of this ship? And it's the only, I'm holding on with a hope and a prayer, because it's the only thing that I think that can kind of save it, so to speak. It's almost a bit dead on arrival, sadly, especially for more veteran backers. But I think if we try to look at this with an objective lens, when you're picking a starter ship, you are just picking what speaks to you. And I think we just got to leave it there, because if you make the mistake and pick the wrong one, you can fix it, because as soon as you go up to the next one, you've left it behind, type of thing. So I think it'll be okay. All right. With that, then, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that notification bell, and thank you to everyone that went the extra mile on Patreon at the end of the video. He's been Lemming. He's Billionaire Ninja. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Oh yeah, Billionaire Ninjas is my YouTube channel, and Ninjas Leap on all the social media.
Cool. All right. With that, then, he's been Billionaire Ninja. I've been Execute. We'll see you next time, citizens.